On May 8, 2026, the United States government opened a vault, a real one. 162 classified documents, hundreds of redacted photographs, military infrared footage shot across 5 continents and outer space, files that had been locked away for, in some cases, 80 years. And inside those files, NASA astronauts on the moon, reporting things they couldn't explain. Military pilots watching objects make 90-degree turns in mid-air at 500 miles per hour. Objects appearing out of thin air over war zones and then vanishing. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is the United States Department of Defense, and they just gave everyone on Earth access. The program has a name, PURSUE, the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP Encounters. A mouthful, yes, but what it represents is something humanity has been waiting decades for. For the first time in history, you don't need a security clearance to see what America's military pilots have been encountering in the skies. You don't need to file a Freedom of Information request or wait 30 years for documents to age out of classification. You just go to a website, and there it is. Infrared video from active military operations, Apollo mission debriefing transcripts.
Gemini 7, is that the booster or is that an actual sighting?
FBI case files with composite sketches of unidentified objects, reports from active duty soldiers in Iraq, Syria, Greece, Japan, and the African continent. 160 files, 400 plus individual incidents, 80 years of mystery, all public, all real. And the question everyone is now asking, is the answer in there? Let's start where nobody expected the story to go, the moon. It's 1965. 2 American astronauts, Frank Borman and Jim Lovell, are aboard Gemini 7, orbiting Earth. And Borman radios something to mission control that makes the technicians lean forward in their chairs.
Gemini 7 here, Houston 98.
Loud and clear. 7, go ahead.
Bogey at 10 o'clock high.
This is Houston. Say again, 7.
So we have a bogey at 10 o'clock high.
Roger. Gemini 7, is that the booster or is that an actual sighting?
Oh, what?
Say again, 7.
Okay, we have several, looks like the 3 up here, actual sighting.
You have any more information, estimated distance or size?
But we also have the booster in sight.
Understand you also have the booster in sight, Roger.
And we have very, very many, it looks like hundreds of little particles going by the left out about 3 to 4 miles.
Understand you have many small particles going by on the left. At what distance?
4 miles. Large, looks like perhaps a vehicle that's disintegrated.
Roger, understand they're about 3 to 4 miles away.
They're past now, they're going to polar orbit.
Roger, and understand they were about 3 to 4 miles away.
From the parent line, or further.
Roger. Gemini 7, Houston, were these particles in addition to the booster and the bogey at 10 o'clock high? Roger.
7, this is, Houston, this is 7.
Go ahead.
I have the booster on my side as a brilliant body in the sun against a black background and with billions of particles around it.
Roger, what direction is it from you?
It's about at my 2 o'clock position.
Does that mean it's ahead of you?
It's affirmative, ahead of us, 2 o'clock, slowly tumbling.
Roger.
No Fox 91. No Fox 1. 91, say again.
He says, bogey, a bogey, military slang for an unidentified aircraft. The transcript, now public, describes him reporting the bogey, then a debris field of, quote, very, very many, hundreds of little particles. Then, 1969, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins, Apollo 11. the most watched moment in human history. What you didn't see on your television screen was what happened inside that spacecraft on the way to the moon. Michael Collins, the command module pilot, described an object he called really weird, and Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon, reported seeing, and I'm quoting the actual declassified debriefing transcript, little flashes inside the cabin, spaced a couple of minutes apart. Then he described something else, a fairly bright light source outside the spacecraft that they, quote, tentatively ascribed to a possible laser. A laser. In 1969, in deep space. Aldrin's exact words in the transcript, it did give you a rather funny feeling to contemplate that something was zapping through the cabin. There wasn't anything you could do about it. Read that again. A NASA astronaut, one of the most trained, most psychologically screened human beings who had ever lived, said something was zapping through the cabin of Apollo 11, and nobody told us. 3 months later, Apollo 12, astronaut Alan Bean, on the surface of the moon, reports seeing flashes of light he described as, quote, sailing off into space. The photograph from that mission, now released, shows a highlighted zone above the lunar horizon. The object of interest, still unresolved. And then, Apollo 17, December 1972, the last time humans stood on the moon. Lunar module pilot Jack Schmitt radios back to Earth and says something extraordinary. It's like the 4th of July out there. The new government analysis of the Apollo 17 photographs, released May 8th, shows 3 dots in a triangular formation above the lunar terrain. The Pentagon's own caption reads, and this is their exact language, new preliminary US government analysis suggests the image feature is potentially the result of a physical object in the scene. A physical object above the moon in 1972 that the US government is still analyzing in 2026. And they had those photographs the entire time. Now we fast forward from 1972 to the world today, because the files don't just cover the past, they cover right now. There are incident reports dated as recently as January 1st, 2026. Encounters happening while you were watching New Year's fireworks. Let's talk about what modern military pilots have been seeing. Greece, October 2023. A US military infrared sensor locks onto an object over Greek airspace. The object is, by official report, diamond-shaped. It is traveling at 434 knots. That's almost exactly 500 miles per hour. Then it does something that no known aircraft on Earth can do. It makes a 90-degree turn. A hard, immediate 90-degree directional change at 500 miles per hour with no deceleration, no G-force that any human pilot could survive. And then it does it again, multiple times. The report is labeled Unresolved. East China Sea, 2022. A military sensor platform spots an object that, I want you to picture this, is shaped like a football. Just a large, football-shaped metallic object hovering over international waters. No wings, no exhaust, no propulsion system of any kind that the observers could identify. The report notes the object was tracked before it simply wasn't there anymore. Syria. 2 separate incidents. The first, a report describes, quote, multiple glares or light from an unknown origin observed in 2024 above active US military positions. The second, and this one is remarkable, video footage from an infrared sensor shows 2 semi-transparent, irregularly shaped orange formations. They appear, they hold position for exactly 2 seconds, and then they're gone. The entire event lasts less time than it takes to blink twice. Iraq, 2022. A small UAP reported near US forces, unresolved. Kuwait, Japan, the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, the Gulf of Aden. Reports in every ocean, on every continent, and over Africa in 2025. An active US military operator, location redacted, files a report about a UAP encountered in African airspace. The object, unresolved. Over the Mediterranean, a pilot describes a, quote, triangular and metallic UAP at 25,000 feet. flying alongside his aircraft, matching his course, then gone. Over Kazakhstan, an object performing corkscrew maneuvers at blinding speed across open sky. And over the western United States, December 2025, an infrared camera captures a single dark dot moving in a way that no drone, no balloon, no aircraft that the US military can identify moves. Here's where it gets darker. The FBI files in this release, some of them dating back to 1947, contain something the agency had buried for generations. FBI case file 62-HQ-83894. That number will mean nothing to you right now, but what's inside it might change how you think about the last 80 years of American history. The file contains a composite image, a site photograph from a location redacted, and overlaid on that photograph, a graphic created by the FBI lab itself depicting what eyewitnesses reported seeing. What did they see? An apparent ellipsoid, bronze metallic object materializing out of a bright light in the sky, 130 to 195 feet in length, then disappearing. The FBI made a composite sketch because the object was real enough, the witnesses credible enough, the evidence tangible enough to take it seriously. That sketch classified for decades. And then there's Roswell. You've heard the name. You've probably dismissed it as a folk myth, a campfire story, the original conspiracy theory. But inside this release is an actual FBI memo from the Dallas field office, dated 1947, written by an FBI agent, addressed to FBI headquarters. The agent writes that a US Air Force major called the Bureau to report that, and here are the exact words from the now declassified memo, quote, "An object purporting to be a flying disc was recovered near Roswell, New Mexico. The disc, the memo says, was hexagonal in shape, suspended from a balloon," the Air Force's official explanation. But the fact that the FBI wrote it down, filed it, classified it, and never told anyone, that part took 80 years to reach us. So, we have Apollo astronauts seeing unexplained objects on 6 separate moon missions. We have military pilots recording objects moving at 500 miles per hour, making 90-degree turns. We have the FBI sketching bronze metallic objects 190 feet long, materializing from light. We have 400 incidents across 80 years, and we have a government that sat on all of it. The Pentagon has been careful to say, these files do not confirm extraterrestrial life. They include a disclaimer that the observations reflect the subjective interpretation of the person who wrote each report. And that's fair. But here's what the Pentagon cannot say. They cannot say these things didn't happen. They cannot say the pilots were lying. They cannot say the Apollo astronauts were hallucinating. They cannot say trained military infrared sensors malfunction in ways that produce football-shaped objects making 90-degree turns over international waters. And DNI Tulsi Gabbard called this the first in what will be an ongoing joint declassification and release effort. The first, meaning there is more files, more footage, more encounters that haven't been unsealed yet. In February 2026, Barack Obama sat down for a podcast and said something that sent the internet into a spiral. He said, aliens are real. He later clarified he'd seen no direct evidence of extraterrestrial contact during his presidency, but he said they're real. Then Trump posted on Truth Social after releasing these files, "What the hell is going on? Have fun and enjoy. The files are real. The footage is real. The encounters are documented, witnessed by trained military observers, recorded by advanced sensors, and filed in official government reports. And they are unresolved. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. Earth has been here for 4.5 billion of those years. And humans, modern, intelligent, tool-using humans, have existed for maybe 300,000 years. If something else evolved somewhere else, even just a million years before us, a million years ahead of us technologically, what would their spacecraft look like to us? It would look like a dot on an infrared screen, making a 90-degree turn at 500 miles per hour, and then disappearing. The files are open. What you do with them is up to you.